Good evening, Meads Mill parents and students. We're going to get going in a minute here. We're going to get everybody on and then we will start. Again, good evening, Meads Mill parents and students. We'll start in about a minute or two here. Let everybody get in. Looks like we All right, I am going to go ahead and get going here. So first of all, welcome. And I just said Meads Mill a couple times, and that's the last time I'll ever say that to the NHS class of 2025. So welcome NHS class of 2025, students and parents. I am Tony Koski, and I'm proud to serve as the principal at Northville High School. With me tonight, I have Janice Loomis, who is the grade level principal for the class of 2025. She will move up with you. She graduates from our seniors to our freshmen next year, and she will move up with the freshmen for their 4 years. Along with, we have two of our counselors here, Kate Schultz and Emily Manugian. They're also they will also move up with your son or daughter for the next 4 years of their high school career. So again, welcome to you tonight. Hopefully the activities portion, the activities / athletics club portion of it went well for you the earlier part of the night. And so tonight we are going to continue to talk about the transition into Northville High School from 8th grade. And with transition I think is a good word. Transition means, and to me it means a new start. So students, as I said the other day, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in middle school, keep doing all those good things. If maybe you need a new start, that's what a fresh transition allows. This is also an orientation, also as an orientation into the high school. So this is one of a few different orientation events. You had, if you go here, this page provides you a few links. We weren't able to give tours, but you have that video that you can take a tour. We had our student transition panel the other day with Meads Mill, and also the counselors have been into the building. So those are some of the transition things we'll do. Probably one of the most important transition events I'll talk about at the end of this presentation is freshman orientation at the end of August, and I'll give you that date. So again, welcome NHS class of 2025. And just a couple things, other things before I give a little speech here tonight. This is obviously going to be, this presentation will be posted on the website. Most likely we'll get this video out through email to parents and students of this presentation tonight. The video piece of it, but the presentation, the slideshow itself will be on our website as early as tomorrow, hopefully. All right, so I'm going to start by 8th graders. I apologize, or class of 2025, I apologize for saying some of the same things I said the other day. And parents who have been through one of these transition orientation days with me, you're going to hear some of the same things. And why you hear those same things is because nothing changes on what I think it needs to be successful at Northville High School. I wish some things change, but they don't, and that's a good thing too. So I'm going to talk about 4 things tonight. First of all is attending. Make sure students are attending. It's so important. Many of the issues that we have at the high school level comes down to maybe students not attending, not being in school physically, or maybe not being attentive in the classes that they're attending. So that's the first thing. Second thing to be successful is just be a good person. We're not going to get into this a lot. Ms. Loomis will get a little bit into our handbook and code of conduct tonight, but we won't do that a lot. We'll do that next fall. But be a good person, whether it's in the real world or virtual world, be a good person, make good decisions, and do unto others as you want done unto you. The third thing I think is very important to understand is that credits and grades start to count more at the high school level. Right away in your fall of your freshman year, things really start to count. First thing, make sure you're finishing strong at the middle school. Make sure you're finishing strong at Meads Mill. Finish those classes strong, but then also be prepared to start fresh at the high school. And it starts, why I say credits and grades count more, because you right away, you're starting to form your transcript for college, university, or even the workplace or military. 2-year program, 4-year program, whatever it is, that transcript starts to count at the beginning of your freshman year, grades and credits. So that's very important to understand. The fourth piece of advice is get involved. This is probably one of the biggest things you'll hear from us tonight. There are so many opportunities at Northville High School, but it's not like going from elementary to middle school. Those things just don't come to you. You have to go get those opportunities. So get involved with clubs, get involved with athletics, get involved with music, performing arts. A lot of things you can do to make a school of over 2,500 students smaller, and that's by getting involved. So those are 4 things you'll hear from me again at freshman orientation, but I just wanted to get those out to you tonight. The other thing I want to talk about, that was my welcome introduction. These are the grade level principals for each year. Like I said, Ms. Loomis will be with you for 4 years along with your counselors. And for example, Mr. Gordon is our 10th grade principal this year. He'll move up to 11th grade. So not only will your grade level principal be with you for 4 years, but your counselors also. In the slideshow, there's a little link down below here called balance. I'm not going to show that video tonight. But the B word is something you're going to hear a lot tonight, and you'll always hear from me. Find the balance in your high school career. You don't have to take, 10 AP courses or 10 IB courses to be successful coming out of Northville High School. That may be for you, but that's few and far between. There's a lot of other opportunities, but also find the balance, whether it's with clubs, whether it's with sports, whether it's with your academics. Make sure you're finding the balance in your schedule, and we'll talk a lot about that tonight. So I'm going to move on, and I think I'm going to hand it over to your grade level principal, Ms. Loomis, and she's going to talk a little bit about expectations, not too much about this tonight.
Good evening, welcome. It's great to be with you tonight. Look forward to working with you for the next 4 years. In terms of our handbook and expectations, I'm not going to go over it too much tonight because we will go over it in much more detail in the fall, but I will go over the cell phone policy, which is you can have cell phones before and after school, also during passing time and at lunch. In the classrooms only with teacher permission. We have many resources for parents and students at the high school, including 6 counselors, 3 that work with the 8th graders, 2.5 social workers, our police liaison. I know you're familiar with MyStar. The most important thing I would say on this list is the Mustang Trail, Mr. Koski's Friday newsletter that goes out every Friday, and it is always filled with lots of great information. So that's emailed out to all parents and students, Mr. Koski, or?
Yep, students and parents, yes.
Every Friday. So that's a great resource. And then of course, Schoology, we have a partnership with Northville Youth Network and our PTSA.
A lot of people just joined us. I just want to go back to the beginning with something. This slideshow will be put on, we'll get it out to you tomorrow, probably through your principal, Mr. Jones or Mr. O'Neill. Mr. O'Neill, in your case, we'll get this presentation out to you, and most likely we'll get the video out to you too. Also, there's the link to the tour of the building, along with your transition student panel from the other day, along with that Mustang Trail. So just wanted to go back to that to remind people about that. So
And the Q&A is open, correct, Mr.
yep,
Koski?
that's the other thing I was going to remind you on. So I tonight, questions are asked through the Q&A. I just want to let you know we're probably not going to get to every question tonight. We just don't have the time to do that, whether we were in person or virtually. We won't have the time to get to every question, but we'll try to get to a lot of them or most of them. And again, didn't mention, would love to be with you in person today, but I think we've done a pretty nice job getting most of the information out to you the virtual way. So with that being said, I think Ms. Loomis is going to talk a little bit about clubs.
Yes, so I think you've met already with clubs and athletics, and hopefully you've gotten some great information. We have over 100 clubs and activities. I categorize them. We have competitive clubs like the robotics, DECA, which is business-oriented, HOSA, health occupations, Model UN, where it's like a miniature United Nations. We have a new esports team this year. So we have lots of different competitive clubs. We have some athletic clubs that are competitive, like mountain biking and figure skating. We also have a lot of caring clubs. So Hearts for Hospitals, Forever Young, they work at a senior center with seniors, Habitat for Humanity, our American Red Cross won some awards this year for all of their activities. We have creative clubs. If you're creative and you want to be involved with drama or art, we have many opportunities with that, or just making connections with someone who has something in common, a common interest. We have lots of opportunities. You see some examples there. Applications to start a new club are in September. So it will be on our website, and there's an application you fill out listing what club you want to start and who your advisor is. We require an advisor. It's usually a teacher in the building, and kind of what your purpose of your new club is, and when you want to meet, and kind of what you want to accomplish. Also in September, there are many announcements we'll hear all kinds of announcements for the different club meetings. They also put it on our school news, the NNN network, and many times in the Mustang Trail. So that's really prevalent in the fall, with lots of the clubs starting up and having their meetings. There's a link there for the detailed clubs listing. That's on our website, and that lists all the clubs. I think that you probably already went to that tonight and saw all of our clubs have flyers, or they had Zoom connections meetings.
So I'm going to add here, so I'm going to, Ms. Loomis summarizes it in a different way, but I'm going to put it another way. There's 3 types of clubs from my viewpoint at Northville High School. There's a competitive clubs, as Ms. Loomis already recognized, robotics, DECA, HOSA. I mean, I could go on and on with the different competitive clubs. There's also the athletic clubs, figure skating, mountain biking, girls hockey, rowing, which is a very popular club. So we have those athletic clubs. And we also have just kind of the normal clubs, I guess I could call them. Could be Frisbee club, could be fishing club. There's so many different clubs. And again, as Ms. Loomis says, there's a chance for you to start a club. There's certain criteria, but you would fill out that application in the fall. And those clubs are a very important part of our school culture. And again, how do you make a big place like Northville High School, over 2,500 students smaller, by getting involved in clubs and other activities? So the other thing I need to note is you're probably going to experiment in a few clubs in your freshman and sophomore years, but then you kind of want to hone it down a little bit in your junior and senior year and make some choices and kind of find that balance in your schedule. So anything else with clubs, Ms. Loomis?
I think that's it.
Okay. Going to move us on. Block scheduling and seminar. So first of all, I will say this, our plan, and I have heard no other plan, is to be back fully next year. That is what our board has said, and that is how we're moving forward with our planning. And that's my hope, and I think everybody in this room's hope, is to be back fully next year. Now, we are on an ABC schedule. We're on a block schedule, and I'm going to explain that. There could be some tweaks to this schedule, depending on C days might look a little differently, or our lunches might look a little differently. But our plan is to be back fully next year, and I'm going to use the ABC schedule tonight going with that, relative to that. So explaining our schedule, we are on a block schedule, and I'm going to give an example here. A days are on Monday and Wednesdays, B days are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then there's these crazy C days on Friday. So you may have a math class on your A days. So your math class might meet 2A from 8:57 to 10:27 on Monday and Wednesday for 90 minutes. And then it would meet on Friday for 45 minutes from 8:12 to 8:57. So your classes would meet 3 times in a week. Then you might have your English class might meet 2B. And if it meets on 2B, it would meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8:57 to 10:27. And then on Friday, it would meet for 45 minutes from 9:03 to 9:48. We have something that's called seminar, which I'm going to explain in a minute, that meets every Monday and Wednesday from 7:20 to really 8:50. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a minute here, and also meets a little bit on Fridays during lunch and learn, which I won't get into a lot tonight. But as far as seminar, this is one of the most probably important, but maybe underutilized opportunity that students need to take advantage of. And what I mean by that is seminar happens every Monday and Friday, 1A, from 7:20 to 8:50. From 7:20 to 8:30 for 70 minutes, 70, as a student, or parents, your student can see any teacher in the building they want for help from 7:20 to 8:30. So if I have a math test, it's Monday and I have a math, I can go see my math teacher during that seminar time. Or I could see another math teacher, but usually you want to see your own math teacher. So it's very important to take advantage of this 7:20 to 8:30 time where you can see any of your teachers. You mandatory have to report to your seminar from 8:30 to 8:50 every Monday and Wednesday. Now, parents, I'm going to give you this helpful hint here. I have 3 daughters, one of them at Northville High School, one of them graduated from Northville High School, and I kind of used it as a kind of a reward system for them. If my daughters were doing pretty well or are doing pretty well, then they might be able to sleep in a little bit longer on that seminar day. If they maybe need a little extra help or not doing so well, then they have to go into their seminar classes to see, or teachers to see their seminar teacher, or into their seminar to see the teachers they need to. So it's very important that you also use this as a parenting tool to get your students to see who they need to see. At the same time, there's a lot of students who just come into seminar because that's how they keep up, that's how they manage their time. We see a lot of that. But seminar, again, is a great opportunity for students, and sometimes an underutilized opportunity for students. So again, make sure you're using your question and answer, the question and answer box if you have any questions. Up at this point, any questions out there? Panel, Miss Schultz, Miss Manugian, Miss Loomis, anything there? Okay.
Is there a way to request a specific seminar teacher?
Nope, your seminar teacher you'll get assigned a seminar teacher. You will be with that seminar teacher for 4 years. So that'll be a pleasant surprise for you on who you get assigned. You'll have the same students and the same teacher for that 4 years. And usually that becomes a very special connection during that 4 years.
And can you explain what modules are, Mr. Koski?
Yeah, so in order for us to, not going to get into that a lot, but in order for us to allow students to report later for auditing purposes, we have to have seminar modules. Those are tasks that you must complete in your seminar that students have to complete to get their seminar credit. Usually those tasks are things that need to be done anyway. For example, in third quarter, one of your tasks in seminar would be to finish your 4-year plan for scheduling. Your plan over 4 years to schedule your classes. So those are things that we usually do anyway. If there's a topic we might need to talk about, for example, academic honesty, we might have a seminar task on that. So those are tasks that must be completed to get the credit, and it also allows us to what we call blend seminar. So, all right, Mr. Samolsky, tonight our wonderful athletic director is actually at our hockey regionals tonight. So I'm going to take his part tonight also. And again, if you have any questions for him specifically, please email him, but I will cover his portion of the presentation tonight also. You know, we talked a little bit about academics already, talked a lot of, quite a bit about clubs already. We'll talk about athletics, and we'll also talk about music, performing arts. Those are kind of the four big things I talk about, but athletics is a wonderful opportunity for our students. You can see we have 30 different sports, 70 different teams. We have some freshman teams. We have some athletic clubs, like we already mentioned, like figure skating, mountain biking, girls hockey, rowing are some of our athletic clubs that aren't under the MHSAA, Michigan High School Athletic Association, but they're still related to Northville High School. So we also have some teams that are cut sports or tryout sports, and there's some teams that everybody makes it no matter what. I'll give you the example of right now, we're currently in the basketball season. Both boys and girls basketball teams, you have to try out for those teams. You have to make those teams, or you can get cut from those teams. I hate that word, but that's part of reality. Usually those teams keep 12 to 15 student athletes at each level. So you might have up to 45 students in our basketball girls program or boys program. Then we have there are some athletic teams that are non-cut or non-tryout sports. For example, everybody makes our girls swim team. Everybody makes our boys swim team. Everybody makes our girls track team, our boys track team. These are opportunities that everybody can make, but at the same time, your participation in those might look a little bit differently. For example, if you go out for track, you might not run the 100-yard dash, you might run the 2-mile, where a faster student athlete might run the 100-yard dash. So again, those are non-cut sports, but there's still different things you may or may not do within those sports. Moving on, athletics at Northville High School is it is truly a privilege. They're not required. They're not for everybody. It is a privilege. So you have to get certain grades, as you can see. You have to be passing so many courses. We have a 365-day code of conduct that you have to follow. And there's consequences if you don't follow those things. For example, our athletic code of conduct is on our website and also is in our board policy. But there's things you have to do to keep up with your athletics as a student athlete. So just wanted to make that point tonight. Physicals. You must have a physical on file before your sport starts. And I want to make sure you're very clear of this. If you just got a physical for next year yesterday, that's not good. Your physical per the MHSA has to happen after April 15th. So if you have a physical plan for April 1 for next year, cancel that physical, reschedule it, and make that physical happen after April 15th for next year. And our physical forms can be found on our website. Ms. Schultz is actually a good person to talk about Division I or Division II athletics. She is one of our counselors who kind of heads up questions about college athletics along with Mr. Samolsky. Just want to mention, nothing you really have to worry about right now, but if you are planning on participating, being a student athlete, Division I or II college athletics, there are certain criteria you have to follow, and it's good to know those. And if you go to this eligibility link, you can find some of those things out. So just want to mention that. With that being said, let's take a quick look at our Q&A. Do we have anything in there that we need to take a look at right now? One last thing I will say about athletics. You probably got a lot of information from your coaches. One big question we get is there summer stuff. There are a lot of summer opportunities to be with your teams, your possible teams, or activities, depending. But usually, you go through the athletic department or that coach to take part in those. So, if we have no questions, questions in the Q&A box, we are going to go ahead and move on to our counselors. We're delighted to have Ms. Schultz and Ms. Manugian with us tonight. So I'm going to hand it over to them, and I'll probably butt in a little bit now and then, which they know. So
real quick, golf. We have men's and women's golf, and freshmen are eligible for that as well, correct?
yes, and that would be a cut sport. Golf would be a one of those cut sports. Not everybody can make that, but we have a JV team and a varsity team for both of those sports.
Great. Okay. All right. As Mr. Koski mentioned, Ms. Schultz and I will be working with the incoming ninth graders, and we're very excited to have you guys. Ms. Kemp will be also working with you. She'll have students with the last name A through G. She's not able to join us tonight, but you're welcome to email any of your high school. You're welcome to email your high school counselor based on last name, your last name, and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible. We got lots of questions coming in our emails right now. Okay, next slide. Next one. Okay, so everyone was emailed a document from your middle school counselor. Everyone was emailed a class of 2025 registration links, important links document. It's a one-page document that has everything that you need to complete registration. You could do a quick search in your email for your counselor's name, your middle school counselor's name, and you should be able to locate that document. On that document, there was a registration checklist. It's also linked here in this presentation will be on our website. So you can access these documents here, but I would also refer back to that original document as well. So the registration checklist, we're not going to click on these tonight, but it is just that. It's a checklist. Once you have checked off all the boxes on the registration checklist, you will have completed registration. So I would highly recommend that you take a look at that as part of your registration process, and that will give you an indication as if you are done with the process. Graduation requirements are a helpful tool. This is a link to the graduation requirements. This is also linked in the registration checklist if you are on the registration checklist. So the graduation requirements help students guide their way through high school. So they're making sure that they're taking things that not only interest them, but are checking off the requirements needed by the state and by Northville High School. All students need 28.5 credits to graduate, and that is totally doable, and taking 7 classes in seminar each year. Students reach those requirements with hopefully minimal hiccups. Student registration instructions. This is a link to the instructions on how to import your courses into MyStar. So MyStar should be viewable. The 8th grade and 9th grade track should be viewable when students log into Student Connect right now, and through the 18th at 11:59 is when the window will close. So make sure that you are logging into MyStar. You can go in anytime that you need to between now and the 18th and add and edit courses. Just make sure that you click submit and save when you're done so that it does save any changes that you've made. So adding your courses into MyStar, you will notice that there's preloaded courses for you. The preloaded courses you're not able to remove, but you will be adding in additional courses such as your math class, your world language class, and 2 electives for each semester. We will also have students add in alternate classes because sometimes the schedule doesn't work. It's a big puzzle, and sometimes there's missing pieces or pieces that don't always fit. So we always like to have alternates on hand in case the counselors are working on the schedules in the summer or in August, then we're able to see what you would like instead if we can't get you your first choice. So the alternates do play an important role in the process, and the instructions go over how to enter those alternates in. The course selection sheet is a 2-page document that shows courses that are available to 9th grade students. I would start with the course selection sheet because it's just a 2-page document. And if you see a course listed on there, such as sculpture, and you need more information on that class, then I would consult the course catalog, which is the last link on this slide. And the course catalog will provide you with a full description of the course and if there's any prerequisites or recommendations for that course. So again, I would look at the course sheet first. That shows the classes that are available to 9th graders, and then utilize the course catalog for further explanation. All right.
Can you talk about honors English, Ms. Manugian? We have a couple questions. If we are taking honors English, how will that appear in our schedule?
Yes,
we-
so currently you'll see English 9 is preloaded for every 8th grader who will be a 9th grader. So English 9 is loaded for everybody, English 9A indicating first semester and English 9B indicating second semester. So you'll take a full year of English. If you have been recommended by your English teacher to take honors English and you'd like to take advantage of that opportunity, there is a Google form that you'll do as the last part of the registration process. It's the last step on the registration checklist. You'll fill out the Google form, and on that Google form, we'll collect demographic information. We need to contact you in the summer about your schedule, but then you will also have an opportunity. There's a notes to counselor box. So in that notes to counselor box, you can type that you were recommended for honors English and you would like to take that, and then your counselor will know to make that adjustment in MyStar. If you've already filled out the Google form, that's okay. You can email your high school counselor and we can make an adjustment that way. All right, Ms. Schultz.
Yeah, okay, so registration information. So this is the coolest thing about Norfolk High School. As a big high school with 2,500 students plus, we are giving you the option to basically create our master schedule. So our student requests determine the number of sections we offer for core classes, elective classes. So if you do not register for it, you will probably not be able to get in that class because our section sizes are based on our student requests. So please make sure you're thoughtful and thinking about exactly what you want to take next year, because there are not a lot of changes that can be made come the fall once our master schedule is created and our teachers are assigned sections that you chose. So like Ms. Manugian said, there are already preloaded classes in your MyStar. So when you logged in, you should have seen Seminar A and B, English 9 A and B, Biology A and B, and US History A and B. These are all preloaded and they're classes you have to take except for the English. If you are recommended for honors English, you can put that in the notes or email your high school counselor. You will have to enter your math, world language, electives, and alternates in MyStar. Your math recommendation will come from your teacher and your world language recommendation will come from your teacher as well. You should have received a letter on that, what language you should be going into your freshman year in high school. Students must use their MyStar ID and password to input their selections. So you cannot do this through the parent portal. There was a question about that. You need to do it through the students and the students need to do it. If you'd like to sit with them, you can, but the students should be entering their classes in their Student Connect by themselves so they get used to it. This will be the process for the next 3 years when they're selecting their classes. If you have questions, please email your child's high school counselor.
I'm going to take a minute to add a couple things right here. First of all, Ms. Schultz already mentioned this, but I want you to understand that that a high school our size usually does not allow students to build our master schedule. And what I mean by that is we allow students to select what they want, and then we build our section sizes from that or the number of courses. Usually a school our size will say, all right, we're going to have this many health classes and this many Algebra 1 classes, and let those get filled in. But we build it off of choice, and why that's so important. Choose your classes wisely, and just as importantly, choose your alternates wisely, because there's a good chance you might not get all your selections, and there's reasons for that, depending on what's available and so forth. There's reasons why you might not get all your selections. The other thing that's that I need to mention is, and note again, is that students must use their email address, and that's for two reasons. It works with our process, but also really students are in charge. We're making that transition to the high school where students are in more charge of the choices. Now, at the same time, you are partnering with your parents. Parents or students are partnering together to make that schedule for next year, but you should be at least doing it together. But this is about students leading their ways. So just want to make those notes. I'm going to move on. I think, Ms. Schultz, do we have any quick questions we want to take before?
Yep, so there's some outside of district parents and they're asking for students who do not go to MPS. The district page is saying enrollment for next school year will not be available until April. Can we connect with counselors before then? No, counselors will be doing new enrollments in April or May, I believe, when we start getting those enrollments. So in April, you can enroll, and then you'll be meeting with the high school counselor in May or June to schedule your students' classes.
And I'll make a guarantee you'll get all the classes that you need. Don't worry about that. We'll find the classes that you need. Just because you're registering then doesn't mean you'll have any less choice. So just want to make that very clear.
And as counselors, we're good at working all that stuff out, so you'll be taken care of. So these are the class of 2025 graduation requirements. These are all the requirements your student needs to complete over the next 4 years at Northville High School. So they'll need 4 credits of English, English 9, English 10, and then we have many selections for them in English 11 and 12. Now you have to keep in mind that the English electives like drama, independent studies and lit, intro to journalism, and speech and debate do not count for those 4 required credits of English. You need to take the English 9, English 10, English 11s, and 12 classes for those 4 years. 4 credits of math, including Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and a senior year math. Every student is on a different math pace and pathway, so please don't compare yourselves to any other students or friends or siblings for that matter. Please make sure you're on your own pathway for your math, and your recommendation will come from your 8th grade teacher. So you will take whatever your 8th grade teacher recommends. 3 credits of social studies. Freshman year, you'll take US history, sophomore year, civics and econ, and junior year, world history. 3 credits of science, freshman year biology, and then depending on how strong of a student you are in science and how much you like it, you could take chemistry or physics your sophomore year, or you could push that off and take a science elective your sophomore year and then take chemistry or physics your junior year, or you can take chemistry and physics each year to meet your 3 years of science requirements.
Moving on.
Yes, please. There's 2 credits of the same foreign language or world language that you need. Many of you will have completed the first year in middle school and will be moving on to the second year, your freshman year. And technically you can be done with your 2 years after your freshman year. If you've received the level 1 in 8th grade, you can receive the level 2 in 9th grade and be done with your world language requirement. However, that doesn't mean you have to stop. You are more than, we go up to IB and AP, Spanish, German, French, and Mandarin. So please feel free to continue in a language if you are passionate about it. You need 1 credit of visual performing and applied arts, which stands for VPAA. You'll see that acronym a lot. That is any instrumental or vocal music, art, or industrial or applied tech, and business classes. So basically every student hits this without even trying because they take electives throughout their 4 years. 2 credits a seminar that Mr. Koski talked about, an online experience, which is embedded in most classes nowadays. So you don't have to take an online class. That does not mean you have to take an online class. It just means that this is embedded in the classes. A half a credit or 1 semester of health, and a half a credit or 1 semester of physical education or PE classes. And I want to stop right there and say that I've been meeting with a lot of you middle schoolers, and it's been great to see your smiling faces, and a lot of my 10th graders recently. And a lot of them either have siblings or friends that have taken summer school classes or try to advance, especially in math, to get to the next level. And I really want to address that here for parents and students. There is no rush to meet these credits at a fast pace. You have 4 years to meet all these requirements. And by your senior year, you could have everything but English and math done, and you'll have 5 full openings every semester for electives or AP classes if you're an advanced student. So there is no reason to take civics and econ over the summer to get it out for your sophomore year. You still have 2 more years, and you only have 3 years of science or 3 years of social studies to complete. Advancing in math we highly do not recommend that. Our math department finds out that once a student gets to AP Calc, if they don't have a solid foundation, that foundation crumbles. So if you're thinking of, you're in Algebra 1, you want to take geometry over the summer, or you're in geometry, you want to take Algebra 2 in the summer to get to the next level, we highly don't recommend that. You are putting 40 weeks of in-seat instruction that you would be getting at Northville High School from a teacher, and you're condensing it to 8 weeks online. And they will not have the foundation to be successful in the in the math in the future. So we highly recommend that you do not do that, although it will be very tempting for a lot of students, and I'm having a lot of conversations about that. We don't recommend that you do that. Anything you want to add there, Mr. Koski?
Yeah, I'm going to add a couple things here before we go on to the next slide. So first of all, I just want to give my opinion on the health credit. It's a 9-12. It's a requirement, but you can take it 9th grade through 12th grade, any of those grades. My suggestion would be to take health as a 9th grader, because the topics, the subjects that are covered in health, you want to have your son or daughter as a student, you want to have that under your belt. You want to have those things covered so you can utilize those learnings in the next 4 years of high school. The second thing I want to mention, which Ms. Schultz already mentioned, is summer school and testing out. You do not have to do that. You do not have to take a single summer course. You do not have to test out of a single course at Northville High School. And I'll talk about this a little bit more at the end. You are going to be just fine if you don't do that. And now at the same time, there might be some, if you do those things, test out or take a summer school, there might be reasons to do that, but they need to be for the right reasons. And those are few and far between, very honestly. There's a lot of different choices and a lot of different paths. If you get a diploma from Northville High School, it gives you a lot of opportunities. So I'll talk about that more later on. The last thing is, just want to mention, as you move up in your high school career, or as you go from 9th to 10th, 10th to 11th, 11th to 12th, you get more choices in your schedule. You get more elective choices, you get more opportunities to take those electives. And that's by design, because as you get closer to that graduation, you might have a better understanding of what you're doing and what you're going on to, and formulate your classes from that. So just wanted to add those points.
Thank you.
Do we want to hit a few questions in the Q&A right now before we continue on?
I
Are we
think
good
I'm
for
good.
right now?
I'm just typing away here, so, yep.
All right. Is there any ones that you want to go over verbally, Ms. Manugian?
I think just a reminder that if you are recommended for honors English 9, but regular English 9 is what's preloaded, that's fine. We understand that. The regular English 9 will remain as the preloaded English class. You can email your counselor to let them know, but the preferred method would be to put it in the notes to counselor portion of the Google form that all rising 9th graders should complete. So all 9th graders should complete that Google form. There's a notes to counselor section. You would type in there, I was recommended for honors English 9, and then ask that that you be placed in that, and the counselor can make that adjustment. If you already filled out the Google form, then you can simply email your high school counselor and let us know.
Cool.
Great.
All right, we're going to move on.
All right, so we got course selection options for you. So like I talked about before, English is pretty well set for you guys. And like Ms. Manugian just talked about, English 9 was preloaded, but you do, if you were recommended, have the option to take honors English 9. You don't have to take honors English 9 if you were recommended. You can still choose to take regular. Again, please put it in the counselor section of the Google Doc in the notes. Some electives, like I mentioned before, for your freshman year would be Drama 1, Speech, Introduction to Journalism, which is a prerequisite for a yearbook if you're interested in yearbook, and Independent Studies and Literature. Math is always going to be based on teacher recommendation every year. So your next math level will just be exactly what your teacher recommends. And there is a math course sequencing available in our course catalog if you'd like to look at where you'll end up. Science, you will all take biology freshman year, which is already preloaded. And we do have an elective, Project Lead the Way Biomedical Science, that freshmen have the option of taking their freshman year. Social studies, again, US history is preloaded. And then you also have 2 electives your freshman year, Big History, which is a semester, and Contemporary Global Issues, which is a semester class. World language, you are required to take 2 credits of the same world language as I went over. Again, most of you, I believe it was you had to pass with a C, and you were recommended for level 2 of your world language, which you will be in freshman year. So you'll want to add either Spanish 2A and B, or French 2A and B, Mandarin 2A or B. are German 2A or B. So you'll have those options, and it's based off teacher recommendation. So please enter the level that your teacher recommended.
And just another side note with the world language, we do consider world language to be one of your core academic classes. So, there's English, math, science, social studies, but we do consider world language to be part of that core academic group because you are taking it required at the high school level for at least 1 or 2 years, depending on what you get in middle school.
And I also need to make a note here that a letter did come up from the district about world language. If a student does get a C or better in their world language class, their level 1 course, then they will move on to that level 2 course, whether it's in Spanish, German, French, or Mandarin. They'll move on to that level 2 course. And again, I know there's concern about that, especially because our world language were virtual this year at the 8th grade. But again, our teachers at the high school make adjustments to that, and we'll make adjustments to that. So just want to make that note.
Visual Performing and Applied Arts, or the VPAA, you need 1 full credit, so 2 semesters. Any combination of the following, like I said, most students hit this without even trying. Instrumental or vocal music, so band, varsity choir, any of our fabulous art classes, which there are a ton of those, any of our business computer classes, there's so many of those, which are great, and applied technology. Other requirements, that online learning experience that I talked about is embedded in a number of NHS classes. Students are not required to take an online class. Then you have health and physical education. You have the health AB and the health AO. Please sit down with your families and look at the descriptions in the course catalog about the difference between these 2 health classes. It has to be a family decision on what you take. And then any of our PE classes for a half a credit you can take. For the PE classes, advanced lifeguarding, physical conditioning, advanced conditioning are all classes you can repeat. The other ones you cannot repeat. So team sports, individual sports and rackets, and PE fundamentals, you cannot repeat that for credit. You can repeat physical conditioning, advanced conditioning, and advanced lifeguarding. And even though it doesn't count as a health or PE credit, the wellness and balanced lifestyles is also a class that you can repeat. I said that right, Mr. Kroski?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Ms. Manoogian, did you have a question to answer? I thought you might have had something. No?
Yeah, I think I did, but I forgot, so we're good.
Okay, all right.
Okay, additional learning opportunities throughout your high school career at Northville High School are the International Baccalaureate Program, or the IBDP program. That's for grades 11 and 12, and this time next year as 10th graders, as 10th graders in your March and 10th grade, you will be able to apply for this IBDP program in your 10th grade. You can also take IB courses a la carte too in 11th and 12th grade. Advanced placement courses, the lovely AP courses. Again, I'm going to go back to Mr. Koski's B word and balance. You have to realize these are college level courses, and college students only take 3 or 4 courses per semester. So please keep that in mind. We have kids that like to challenge themselves, which is great. But we have to keep that balance and mental health in perspective when we're talking AP courses. We have Project Lead the Way in engineering and in science. Those are great courses. Dual enrollment courses, once you exceed our curriculum in any classes, we are more than happy to look into dual enrollment classes for you at Schoolcraft or any other college you're interested in. And then we also have Livonia Career and Technical Center, or LCTC, and our Ford Tech vocational schools that we partner with. Both of those would be for 11th and 12th grade. And hopefully by the time you guys are sophomores, we'll get you out there and tour the building and give you a good idea of those vocational schools. Internship co-ops, teacher cadet. We have tons of different experiences for you. And I encourage students and parents to think outside the box and really take time in high school to explore different options that we offer.
I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of things here, Ms. Schultz, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So first of all, one of the beautiful things about Northville High School is all the opportunities our students have, whether it's in the clubs, whether it's in athletics, whether it's in music, performing arts. There are so many opportunities for students. And I say it as, especially with academics, there's a lot of tools in the toolbox. And sometimes those tools aren't utilized. There are different tools for different carpenters out there, for example. You don't have to take 10 AP courses or 5 AP courses, or even one at Northville High School to be successful at a college or most colleges and universities. If you get a diploma from Northville High School, you can be college bound if you want, 2-year, 4-year in most colleges and universities. There are some exceptions to that. But why I'm saying that is every student is different, and every tool is different for there's tools for each student. And for example, some of the programs like our Livonia, our Career Technical Center, people might go into the law enforcement courses or the fire science, or Ford Tech in those areas, looking at internships in co-ops in your junior and senior year. Again, there are so many tools in the toolbox, and I can't stress that enough. The other thing too is, I want to make sure that don't compare yourself to other students. I know that was already said, but parents, don't also compare each child that you have to your, I have 3 girls, and I know I will definitely schedule or have scheduled, help schedule my daughters differently, each one. They're all different and their tools look differently. So I just wanted to stress those points to you tonight. So I think we're ready to move on to that next slide, Ms. Schultz, is that right?
Yes, thank you. And I can attest the Koski girls, they're all different, but they all have a great aspects in each of them.
Mr. Koski,
Yeah.
do you know the answer to this? Can students still opt to get the grade in Algebra 1 and Spanish 1, or is it just credit on the transcript?
So if you're talking for 8th grade, okay. So this change was made a few years ago. What happens is, and this covers everything, the grade ends up on the transcript, okay? The grade and the credit end up on the transcript, but it does not affect the GPA. So any class that you take under high school, or I should say in 7th, 8th grade, mainly 8th grade, the grade goes on the transcript because it is a high school class. The credit goes on the transcript, but it does not affect the GPA. So a student could get a B+ in their Algebra 1 as an 8th grader and get A's the rest of their high school career. They would still get a 4-point because it doesn't affect their GPA. So that's an example.
Thank you. That was a good reminder.
Yep. All right, we're gonna open it up for question and answers, but I do want to go over one more slide here. So I talked about transitions and orientation into the high school, and there's a number of things we do, including tonight, to do that. One of the most important dates is freshman orientation. Please put this on your calendar. Put it on your calendars. If you can be here, really try to make this date. This is tentative, but it's pretty secure that it'll be Thursday, August 26th from about 8 in the morning till 12:30. And I will tell you this, not just because I'm the principal here, I was in awe when I first came here of our freshman orientation. Our student congress runs the best orientation in the country. And I would compare it against anybody. It's designed by our student congress, is designed by students for students, and that's the beauty of it. And by the end of that day, your students, your son or daughters, or the 8th graders out there right now, you'll have a lot better understanding of the high school. At that time, you'll have your schedule. You'll walk through your schedule, lockers, pictures, all those things you worry about. You'll also kind of get the, for example, one session is called Street Smarts. And so you'll understand what happens at Northville High School behind the scenes from a student viewpoint. So that's a very important day, and it's a great day. And parents, on that same night, there's a meeting. This is a parent-only meeting, And it's, you can talk to your son or daughter at how their day went. And then we have a student panel that night, and you can ask questions to those students and also review anything from the day or any questions that you have at that time. But this is a very important date. Now, do you have to be there? No. Do we suggest you be there? Yes. So, but it's not a requirement, but we strongly recommend that you're here for that day. So we're not really closing right now. We're taking, I don't even know what time it is right now. Sorry.
It's 8:15.
So we're going to take probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes of questions if we have anything in the Q&A. So now's the time if you have any questions before. I'm going to give a little bit of a closing here, and then we'll just take some questions. So first of all, want to remind parents that this presentation and students, this presentation will probably be emailed to you from your high school principal. We may even have the video of tonight for you emailed to you, but in this presentation will be also posted on our website for you to use. So that's important. The other thing is, you'll never hear me after tonight repeat, say Meads, Mill, or Hillside. We're now the Northville class of 2025 and excited to have you at Northville High School. So again, like to again welcome our students and our parents to Northville High School as the class of 2025. So at this time, we're going to take 5-10 minutes of questions from Q&A. So why don't we monitor those, and we will we'll answer those questions. We're probably not going to get to all the questions in the next 5 or 10 minutes, whether we did this virtually or in seat. We never get to all the questions. Please email your counselor or your grade level principal, but mainly your counselors if you have questions, and go by that alpha breakdown with your counselors. So questions we have in there. Kate,
Okay.
Emily, Ms. Manugian, Ms. Schultz.
I'm going to tackle a couple of them, and then I'll let Kate tackle some of the other ones. If you get credits in middle school, does that mean you will have to take less classes in senior year? No, everybody will still have a full schedule, 7.5 credits, all 4 years of high school. And a good thing, this piggybacks on summer school and testing out and other opportunities like that. Those opportunities are good fits for some students, but most students can fit everything in their 4 years. In fact, oftentimes in senior year, students are like, what do I take? So rushing ahead, they're the race to where, I don't know where, but there is no race, and we're all here for 4 years. So you're in it to win it. No need to rush. And then
Go ahead.
another one was how many core classes and how many electives are required. So students are entering in, well, you already have entered, or it's already in there for you, English, social studies, science. You'll enter in math and world language, and then you'll enter in 4 electives, which would be 2 for each semester. And then 4 alternate electives you'll enter in as well. You'll have a total of 20 courses on your list. So when you're done in MyStar, you should be able to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 courses. And when I say courses, I mean the A and B of that course. So it would be seminar A would count as 1 course. Seminar B would count as another course. So you'll count 20 of them, and the last 4 will be utilizing the alternate box next to that course.
And remember too, with that, your requirements, for example, if you're taking algebra or geometry, algebra 1A, algebra 1B, that's 2 of those slots. Geometry 1A, geometry A, geometry B. So.
If your child participates in a competitive sport in the fall, do you recommend physical conditioning in the fall, or is it too much? Usually our competitive athletes take physical conditioning on their off season because they're already doing the hard conditioning and competing during their season. So they usually do it in the off season. I have, what is the difference between Division I and Division II athletics? They just have some different core requirements and stuff like that. The Eligibility Center, and in our course catalog, we lay those all out for Division I and II. That's a good place to start there. If you have any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. You can email me. I'm the NCAA liaison. Ms. Manugian, do you see any more?
I'm typing the answers.
typing.
How many classes do you sign up for in a year? It's 7.5 credits is what you take each school year. That's 16 classes. 14 of the 16 classes are your classes, and then seminar would be the other class. So I hope that kind of answers that.
What is the advantage to honors classes versus non-honors classes? Honestly, it's based on what the student feels comfortable with. Obviously, like Mr. Koski said, every grade counts starting in September, and it will, your GPA matters for colleges and other things. So, and I know a lot, the question is for honors and AP classes, do colleges want to see a lower grade in honors and AP classes or a higher grade in regular classes? And usually the college answer is I want to see an A in the honors or AP classes. So there's really no good answer to that. Honestly, it needs to be, again, that balance piece with the student. And you have to take in outside curricular activities into consideration and all that stuff. So I wouldn't say there's any advantage to honors or non-honors classes. It's totally has to be a student choice and has to be a good choice. I know students complete their own schedules, but do parents still have additional forms to complete, like concussion, technology? That should all come, Mr. Koski, in August?
Yep, that'll come with final registration and stuff. That'll come in August. Yep, that'll be sent out through the district, and you'll get all that information in August. End of July, early August.
How much total credits are required in high school? You need 28 and a half to graduate from the high school in 4 years. Which classes are the electives? Anything that's not math, science, English, or world language would be considered an elective.
Social studies too. Math,
And
science.
social studies, sorry, yep, social studies.
And those subjects do offer elective courses, like in the subject of English, an English elective would be drama. So students are taking English 9 to fulfill their English requirement, but if they're very passionate about English, then they might take drama or intro to journalism as their electives. Same with science. A student is taking biology to fulfill their graduation requirements, but they might also take Project Lead the Way biomedical science as their elective because they're that interested in science.
Do most students take PE freshman year? I mean, PE and health are very popular for freshman year. A lot of kids like to get that requirement out of the way. But we have kids that take PE and health senior year and like to keep our hearts pumping.
Again, I will say this again. I want to stress my belief is that the younger you could take your health class, the better. Though that's just my opinion, because those are topics you want to have. Topics you want to have covered before you increase in age, I guess you could say.
If an elective has A and B, then wouldn't the courses get more than 20? No, if you have an elective that has an A and B, that means it's a full year course that takes up 2 year classes. So you wouldn't have more than 20 still, you still need 20. When will course selections be confirmed? On August 26th, when you come to transition day and get your schedule. Are there going to be additional science electives in the future? Oh yes, so for freshman year, you only have one, but after freshman year, you have a wide variety of science electives. We have tons of science electives for you to choose from after your freshman year. Yep, after you complete biology, it's like a whole new world opens.
Mm-hmm. For example, the Project Lead the Way class that is offered to freshmen, that has a second offering that you can take in later years called Project Lead the Way Human Body Systems. So if you take the biomedical science class and you really enjoy it, then you would probably end up signing up for the Project Lead the Way Human Body Systems in the future.
And there's an example. Those Project Lead the Way courses take 2 slots in your schedule, right? They're a full year elective. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yep. So that's an example. So if you take Project Lead the Way as a freshman, then that takes up 2 slots out of your 20 slots.
Can you take Spanish 2A or 2B in the summer? You're welcome to take Spanish in the summer. Again, we don't necessarily recommend it. It's a lot of materials crammed into a very short time. And so that's a bit alarming, but it is available. I just don't think it's the best option. Okay.
All right, I think we're gonna kind of wind things down. Again, presentation will be available to you on the website, along with, we'll probably get it emailed out through Mr. Jones or Mr. O'Neill in your case. We may even email this video out to you. Also, make sure you're sitting down as a family, as parents and student, to fill out your scheduling forms. And most importantly tonight, welcome to Northville High School, class of 2025. We're excited to have you. Have a great night and take care, and we will certainly see you soon. Bye now.
Have a great night.